You initially thought that they were doing some kind of sneaky backdoor thing to cancel the show in some fashion. That's the vibe I got. You texted us in a panic. Jesus Revolution distributor Lionsgate acquires worldwide distribution rights for The Chosen. So, what you did was compare her to a frog.
I like
Anya Taylor-Joy, just to recap.
Hey, we're not gonna.
And I explain. I like frogs. I don't have any issue with this.
Sean Connery was a dog.
Connery has such a unique charm to him. You want to kiss him right now.
Dude, I can't take it.
Welcome back to the Wacky Wonderful Wiseworks podcast. All you guys, gals, geeks, and goofballs.
That's right. Yes,
We're here.
We are here. Can I do? I know I said this on the pre-show.
Get your thing done.
Room cleaning. What do they call it? Housekeeping.
A little bit of housekeeping.
Room cleaning.
A little bit of room service.
Room service. We apologize. Last week, one of our cameras wasn't working well, and this week I'm nervous in my belly about our audio recording. So
it happens.
a little end of season situation. This isn't the last episode, but close to end of season. We got some equipment malfunctions, and it always is running smoothly.
Of course, it happens at the most inopportune time.
Right
when we're trying to move.
You just want everything with this to be working rightly.
We're trying to figure out jobs, trying to figure out moving, everything, and then of course cameras aren't working. The audio recorder is acting up. Things happening.
We have a new camera that we're using here, and we have a flip out screen now. So I'm gonna be struggling not to go like
looking at yourself.
Look at myself, or just checking it constantly. Life of a videographer. You always are checking to see if you're rolling. Always. Anywho,
just like you said a couple weeks ago, we do be pushing, and now we be rolling.
We do what?
Did you say that?
I don't think I said
we be pushing. You said we're pushing.
Where did I was saying we were pushing toward?
Pushing towards a new thing is something. I don't even remember the conversation.
Did he say it like that? You do be pushing,
and now we be rolling.
Do be rolling?
Yeah. Well, no, we're rolling now because he just said we're rolling, but he was pushing before.
I don't think I was pushing.
You were pushing to do something new or something like that.
Okay. Well, now we be rolling.
Rolling.
So there. I wanted to ask you guys.
Okay.
So this is the opening weekend for both The Machine and Little Mermaid.
Oh yeah,
right.
Oh.
And also we did a video on the studio channel. Got a lot of upset people, out and about on our videos and in our comments section.
I'm glad. I want them to be upset.
That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm wanting to know is I want to take a look to see how people are vibing. Opening weekend. This is day number 3. Tonight will be showings for the third day for this.
For The Machine or
for both?
Little?
For both. So it
Little
comes out
Machine.
Thursday night. And all that. So let's go to Rotten Tomatoes and see what people are thinking of these two films.
Ooh.
Right? Does that sound pretty good?
That sounds fun.
So let's start with which one you want to start with?
The Machine's right there. 29.
You're right.
Dang. Look at that.
67. Wait, okay, boy, what's the difference?
Oh, so
hold on, look at the audience score for The Machine.
Okay, so I did check this 2 days ago.
Yeah.
We were at 50 with
wow.
this. So critics really hate this.
Click that audience score.
1 second. So real quick. So right now we got 14 critic reviews, and it's at 29% for Bert Kreischer's The Machine.
Okay.
100 plus verified ratings for audience scores, and it's at 92%.
Wait, the movie's rated R?
Yeah.
What do you think, Joshua?
This is
13.
Bert Kreischer.
All of Bert's material's rated R. All of it. His podcasts are rated R.
He takes off his shirt during his
well, that doesn't
comedy
matter.
set.
I honestly didn't know.
It's more just about his language. His punctuation is the F word.
He's crude, rude, and socially unacceptable.
Right.
Of course, it's rated R.
I guess so.
Where can I hit the reviews?
All audiences.
Just down here. Click that.
So, verified audience. Hit. I wanted to see what it is. What the average is for all audience.
What?
Oh, let me go back. So.
Just hit the 92.
Okay.
Pop that up. Now hit all audience on the verified right there.
Okay, so 90%
so it's not,
all
with
audience.
500 plus. Yeah, so we're getting pretty good ratings.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
The first one wasn't great though.
That's 500 plus of all audience. Verified audience is 100 plus.
Right.
Yeah.
So those are good ratings.
Those are pretty good ratings. Let me take a look at some of these audience comments, because the very most recent one
Yeah.
is at 1 star. It says, "I love Bert, but I literally had to walk out of the movie. That was terrible."
Wow.
1 star. Now there's a bunch of other good stars. So 5 stars. Literally laughed out loud. Literally laughed out loud. Funny. Loved all the bits of homage paid to other classic movies and shows. Definite must see.
This one says, "Is it for everyone?" No, of course not. But it was an absolute blast of an action comedy. I never get bored. The pace was set very well. Wasn't laughing all the time, but when I was laughing, it was loud and hard. Action was fun. Hamill was fantastic. Then this one says, "Fans of Bert will root for him and like the movie. Might be tough to get the jokes as a standalone movie. If you don't know him, I love Bert.
Yeah.
Wish Tom had a cameo." Spoilers.
That would be awesome. So Tom doesn't have a cameo.
Right.
Did you see the video of Tom going to the premiere though?
No, I hadn't seen it.
Tom apparently, because of something, he wasn't gonna show up at the premiere. He ended up like surprising Bert on the red carpet.
Cool.
And there was a video, and Bert was like bawling his eyes out because Tom. was
I think people. What people are saying is, if you like Bert Kreischer, you're gonna like this.
Yeah.
And a lot of people going to the movie are Bert Kreischer fans.
And that's the
most of
point.
time, you know?
I think that's the point.
Okay, so real quick, I wonder if Google has how much they're making, because Bert has been constantly saying in podcasts, if this does well opening weekend, they get The Machine 2 and Fat Astronauts like on Monday. Greenlit.
Yeah.
So let's see how much they're making.
But he
said
also
the budget,
predicted. He was like, he said to the studio, like, he was like, "I think opening weekend it's gonna make this much," and they were like, "So you think it's gonna make more than Avatar?" And he's like, "Oh, is that how much Avatar made?"
He was thinking he wanted to make $200 million opening weekend.
How much are we projected for opening weekend?
Let's see. The Machine financial information. This might be it. So the budget I think was in total close to $30 million.
Okay.
So they don't have to make a ton. Domestic box office.
I mean, that is only for one day. They probably don't.
That's way more than. Wait, that's $850,000.
Yeah.
Is that what it says?
Domestic box office. I think that's so far.
So far. So let's see, box office. Where are we sitting? Okay, hold on. So as of today's the 27th. So in the past, the first day they got $850,000, and yesterday they got $2,200,000.
Okay.
So a lot of people are probably waiting for today and tomorrow to go to this movie.
Yeah, well, and Memorial Day too is coming up.
And
so we get a long weekend.
Three more no work days.
Mm-hmm.
For people to watch this movie. So right now they're still pretty low. They're close to, I guess they're right around 3 million.
We're going to see a significant jump.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see a significant jump. But if we don't, then, that's going to be unfortunate.
Let's go ahead and check out The Little Mermaid.
Mm-hmm.
Mermaid.
What? 2019 film? What is that?
All right. So
interesting. Hit that audience.
So overall,
that jumped so far.
that jumped down pretty low, didn't
verified audience. So critics were talking 67%. Verified audience 95%, and I would be willing to bet a lot of the verified audience are Disney fans or Disney apologists. People that were in our comment section.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
People who haven't seen the movie but went and gave it 5 stars.
Right. Okay. All audience. So there's 1,000 plus verified. All audience is 10,000 plus ratings. We're talking 51. That's a bucket.
Wow.
That's a popcorn bucket sideways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and I think this is probably a more accurate, because 67 from critics and 51 from general audiences.
Yeah,
I think is more closely representative of what this movie is.
Yeah, which is Not great. Now, let's see if they're getting those kind of numbers on reviews, though. They probably are making decent money. I don't know if it compares to how much they spent.
I think the movie's going to make... The movie's going to kind of make what you expect a Disney movie to make. However, the budget on this movie was like $250 million.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, box office Little Mermaid. So far...
No, that's the
original. That's the cartoon.
Put 2023 in there.
2023. All right, where are we looking at? So this was done 24 hours ago. 10.3 million.
Okay.
Box office Little Mermaid 10.3. Little Mermaid Singer Loudly with.
So people are predicting 125 mil
and
this weekend.
And it looks like they're sitting at 10.5 million.
Here's my predictions based off what I've been hearing is weekend number 2 isn't going to see a significant increase.
No.
Because it's a 2-hour and 15-minute movie that is for kids, which we've been told by I don't know how many angry comments that this movie is for kids.
Yep.
What I've been hearing is kids don't have the attention span for this.
Because it's 2 hours long, isn't it?
It's 2 hours and 15 minutes. Kids are nodding off at the hour and a half mark.
Look, old school Disney knew what was up.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go past 90 minutes.
Yeah, a tight 90.
Yeah.
Tight 90.
Sometimes less.
Yeah. I mean, I bet a lot of kids are happy at a minute, at an hour 5. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? An hour 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Give yourself 3 minutes for credits rolling. I'm just saying this is...
Kids also aren't going to identify with this movie as much because there's not as many bright, loud colors. It's not as expressive as the cartoon is.
No, it definitely won't be expressive. We've seen that with the Disney stuff before.
This is why the animation, if they do things right, the animation works better because you can give, your cartoon characters, your animals...
Your fish.
Your
fish have expression.
You can give them expression.
Crabs have expression.
The live action remakes just aren't landing.
They don't have the facial expressions that humans have.
Right. And we've known this. Even Jon Favreau doing The Lion King. We've been talking about this for so long. A lot of the live action Disney movies don't translate. Cinderella was the first one, right? Wasn't Cinderella one of the first ones?
I mean, they've done a ton of Cinderella,
they've done it,
so yeah,
But
probably.
look, Cinderella was one of the first ones. They had the little animated mice. We knew that wasn't going to translate.
So looking at this movie, if they spent $250 million on it, I don't know that they're making that money back. Probably because not. In the U.S. box office, the companies make about 50% of what the movie makes. So if after the box office, if this movie makes $750 million, right? Profit. So they'd have to make more than that. If they make $500 million profit, then the studio only gets half of that.
I think it just depends.
Barely breaking even.
It really depends too. Like, are they going to put it on Disney Plus not to just watch, but to premiere buy? Like, you pay the $24
to rent it for a while.
And if they do that,
they're still not going to make their money back because Cruella tanked. They did that with Cruella. Nobody watched that.
Well, but Cruella wasn't just so they put it in theaters for a couple weeks, and then they put it exclusively. Yeah, and then they put it in a month on Disney Plus for people to still buy. And we've seen in the past that Disney has this sneaky way of like not having to pay actors that way too. They don't pay actors when it goes on their streaming service, so they're collecting all that money. It's just going straight into their pocket.
Is her name Halle or Haley? Halle Bailey. I saw they just released a commercial or a trailer for The Color Purple, which she's starring in.
Why do we need a remake to The Color Purple?
It's better than Little Mermaid remake, probably.
I mean, probably, but
it works as a live action. I don't know if Little Mermaid does work as a live action.
But the other one was a live action.
The original Color Purple was a live action.
But we also got a remake to, Les Miserables.
Yeah.
And it was better. The second remake was better.
But it also, the first one was not a musical. There was no music in the original.
There was. No, there wasn't.
Yeah, I don't know how this. I don't think this. They're gonna really promote this and say that it's doing better than any other movie
Because they have to.
Because they have to, but I don't think it's gonna do super great.
No, probably not.
What I've been hearing for the most part is that the movie is a less good version of the original.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm talking in details, in the little details of, the way that, the way she feels about Eric, the way that she interacts with Flounder and with Sebastian.
Probably the motivation for Ursula.
It's
And
just
how she presents
everything is not as enjoyable.
I mean that's
it's a
all
little bit
Disney
darker.
stuff now.
That's all Disney live action.
It's all like
things are less.
they're showing us the same stuff as the original, but it's like there's no emotion in it.
Yeah, there's no heart.
There's no. It's like
It falls flat.
yeah. There's just no motivation for the characters.
Mm-hmm.
Or there's just no emotional response that is up to par.
Yeah.
When you're comparing, apples to something that's supposed to be a more realistic apple, it just falls short. It just feels like an apple and kind of a rotted apple.
And what's part of the thing with live action is, I really want to see these characters, in real life.
Mm-hmm.
But Sebastian, Flounder, they're like fake.
Yeah. Look, and
they don't look real. They don't look like real animals.
Exactly.
And even the people aren't emoting as well as in the animated feature.
And to reiterate, the video that got us all the hate, it doesn't matter. I'm not hating on the story being a kid's story.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying the lack of effort from Disney. Because the clip we saw of Ursula, and there was some comments, right? There was some comments. If people watch this video, I'll clarify. Yes, we have a LUT on our video, and so it ended up making the video look darker than it already was, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So that wasn't intentional. That was just our process screwed it up.
I did say that while we were watching.
Yeah, you did say it
I
looks
said,
dark.
Hey, it
but
looks
you knew,
dark.
Yeah, and some people were like, "Oh, you manipulated it, so you have more things to complain about." Well, from even our end, where we saw the actual thing, it's still pretty dark.
And people are complaining about it.
And people are complaining about it. So
theater.
listen, but even just the effort from Disney for the animation, for the recording, for the person who's playing Ursula, that lady, like
We haven't
lack
seen the
of
film
effort.
yet. Let's.
From just one clip. The
You're
clip
just
was
complaining about the video we put out.
But
about
if we're talking about if people keep saying it's for kids,
yeah.
Is it really?
They
No.
think it is. Well, it's for kids.
It's for people.
It's for the
our
parents'
age
money.
who grew up on The Little Mermaid, who want to take their kids.
Right.
Right. We all watched The Little Mermaid.
I have a kid. I have a daughter.
When
by the way.
when we were kids, did you guys watched
Yeah.
The Little Mermaid? I
Yes.
watched The Little Mermaid. I loved The Little Mermaid as a kid.
Yes.
I love the priest the most.
Shut up.
People want to see. People wanted to go, and that's why they're doing these remakes. Is people want to relive these experiences.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's partially for little kids. It's also for the people who grew up on these movies.
Right. Yes, and you're right. And unfortunately, for people like me, who I did grow up on the movie, and I have a daughter, and I'm probably gonna have more kids in the future, if she starts enjoying movies, I'm not showing her this movie. I'm not
You'll
buying this movie.
Probably
for
show her the original.
I'm gonna show her
because
the original.
It's shorter.
Maybe the special edition version.
It's
though.
brighter.
It's better.
It's better. Yeah.
They took out the sexual subliminal messaging.
Yeah, that version is the one you should show her.
They got rid of the.
Which is probably the one on Disney Plus. I don't.
They
think
got rid of
would've put
the
that one.
phallus.
The phallic imagery.
The phallic imagery on the VHS tape cover. I can't believe they did that.
I
don't know
watched
if it's I don't know if it's like satanic motivated or just
No.
people really bored.
That's what I've
Like
heard.
mild perverts that are really
the
bored.
Animators talk about this. It's like you're flipping through pages.
All day.
You know, you got 4 different pages in your hand. You're moving them back and forth. You're drawing stuff all day, every day. You get bored and you want to put something funny in it.
Okay, but that's just kind of dark.
It
to
is
put
kinda
into
dark.
a kids
Yeah.
movie. I mean, I'm sure we've mentioned all of them on the podcast before. But in the original Mermaid, the priest had a boner, which is actually funny because of Catholicness.
But also, I've
But,
heard people say that's his knee. If you look at the footage, it's his knee.
Here's the thing. I pulled it up. I watched it. I rewound. I watched it. I rewound.
Yeah.
His knee's there. He has a knee. and it's not what's sticking out of his pants.
I think that's the excuse. It's like, oh no, clearly it's his knee.
No, sorry.
Yeah,
I studied it thoroughly.
I think probably they changed it where they raised his robe up a little so you can see his legs, and there's like, look, clearly the line shows. But in the original, his robe probably went all the way to the floor.
And look, it is what everyone thought it was when you saw it.
I think that one is probably more excusable because artists are doing things like listen to me.
Okay, keep talking.
Artists are doing things like there are parts of the body under clothes, so they're probably drawing a knee, right? And then everybody's like, look, that one's a boner. Look.
Don't pull up.
I'm doing it. It's a cartoon image.
There's other things, like in The Rescuers, when they fly past the window and there's like a naked lady. That's a JPEG of a naked lady. It's not a drawing, right? Whereas you can excuse when an artist is like, all right, I'm going to draw this lump here so that you can see his knees under the robe.
Let's see here.
That's not his knee. That is not his knee.
Let's find another higher quality one here. That's not a knee. That's not a knee, dude. And I think it moves. Okay, so that's
probably the remake.
That's the remake. Come on, give me an image of. Okay, here we go. It's really slow quality, but that's not a knee.
If that's part of his robe, but if you look at that other picture from the top down perspective.
Why are we looking this up?
I'm just saying.
Can we move
which
past
one you talking
this segment?
About? Which
Can we
section
move
you
past?
talking? No, not yet. Which top down you talking about?
That one up there.
This one?
No,
this one.
That one.
It's low quality. You can't
really see
it.
But if that's what they're going for, then it's like, oh yeah, clearly we were trying to draw a knee, and the artist sees something completely different.
So you're saying he has two knees,
right?
But I'm sorry, the thing is up here.
Yeah.
In this shot, we don't show the legs.
If this is a lower camera shot than that first one, that's a higher up shot. This is a lower shot.
I don't know.
Why would the bump of his knees be different over here?
If it was never a problem, why fix it?
Exactly.
Why fix it?
Well, because people are taking it to be a phallic image.
That is.
If it was a knee originally,
just like
right?
That is.
And everybody says,
that's just a naked lady.
If everybody says, oh, it's not a knee, then whether it was or not,
can we stop
you
clicking
still have
these
to.
photos?
You still have to take it out.
Oh, wow. We can't transition into our first segment after this.
Yes, we can. We are doing important work over here, discussing the problems with Hollywood. We figured out, I don't think the live-action Little Mermaid's going to interest people enough to get their money back. It just won't. The machine might.
Bring back the knee.
Now, here's the thing. Bring back the knee, hashtag. Hashtag bring back the knee. So to close out our thoughts for opening weekend, I think Bert, the machine, we'll see what happens over the next 3 days. I think they'll probably make their money back. Hopefully they break even at least, and then hopefully we'll make more money. Mm-hmm. But we'll just have to wait and see, I guess. I mean, it's to get to your budget opening weekend is difficult because you don't have as much for marketing, and Bert is kind of the only one out there marketing this thing.
No, there's ads on Hulu, there's ads on all the streaming services. They're marketing this movie.
Yes, but that's also adding to the budget.
It is.
So it's kind of like, at what point is it cut off? At what point does this become a success?
But you have to. I think the ads are good.
Yeah.
You have to advertise a movie like this everywhere. Otherwise, people don't go, let's go see this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well,
talk about advertisements. Lionsgate is trying to be a part of advertising The Chosen.
Well, it's not that they're trying. They struck a deal.
Yeah.
So that's actually, you sent me this week, and you said you want to talk about it here, so we'll we'll do this as kind of our main segment opener. It's interesting because we were going back and forth. You initially thought that they were doing some kind of sneaky backdoor thing to cancel the show in some fashion. That's the vibe I got. You texted us in a panic. And the wording on that article was strange, right? It was confusing.
Yeah.
But then I found another article.
Read the article.
So Wyatt and Joshua, I'm filming a story.
Hey,
I was
okay,
like,
look,
did he not read this?
I'm filming a story,
No.
all right, for work or whatever. And during interview, I'm getting you guys' texts back and forth. And
You're
at
like,
some
what's
point,
going on?
I'm like, what's going on? I'm so confused. And Joshua was just making it sound like it's over. It's
No,
canceled.
I kind of knew
You got
it was
confused.
something
This
like
is
that,
the
but
end.
I just I was saying. So explain what's happening,
All right.
and then I'll talk about
So
it.
Jesus Revolution distributor Lionsgate acquires worldwide distribution rights for The Chosen. So we're talking, I think, DVD or Blu-ray hard copies as well as theatrical runs. Because before they were kind of just Angel Studios was just doing it themselves. Now they're taking on Angel Studios still owns the rights for free streaming for the production of the product, right? But for the actual distribution to have a wider release and to do things like running ads, like where's all that money coming from? Well, they got licensing. Lionsgate acquired worldwide distribution rights to The Chosen, the hit series based on the life of Jesus, film studios, which has distributed movies such as Knives Out, La La Land, and John Wick franchise.
But to be clear, they made a sub-licensing deal.
Sub-licensing deal with Angel Studios.
So they don't have all of the rights to
No.
the distribution.
As long as they don't have creative rights,
They don't have any creative rights
then
over this.
we're pretty good still. But I just think
Well, here's the thing. Angel Studios is run by a bunch of pretty savvy business people. I don't think they're ever going to sell off creative rights to the show. They're probably thinking, like, there's a lot more money to be made if we have this person helping us with distribution for the show itself. And in order for them to do that, they have to get a cut of the pie. They have to get some of the licensing as well. So I think the people at Angel Studios are being smart about this. Also, keep in mind, Angel Studios has just announced, I think, four other film or show projects that are being funded currently on Angel Studios. They just came out with His Only Son over Easter, which is a movie about Abraham and Isaac kind of situation.
yeah.
And so they're doing a lot of more stuff than just The Chosen.
Scroll down. I
You
want to
know
say there was
what
more
we should
at the
do
end of
when,
the article.
This is a cool section right here. So the more I learned, this is from the CEO of Lionsgate.
And that's not him. I believe
not
that's
him.
an
That's
ad. But we can pretend like it's him.
He's actually, this guy's more handsome than the actual guy. I did look up Jim Packer earlier. The more I learn about The Chosen, the more I want to ensure that it is on the best platforms across the globe, such as Lionsgate, said Lionsgate president and worldwide television distributor Jim Packer. Sometimes I read too fast. All right.
It's tough.
I'm not surprised that an artfully crafted story about such an important historical figure, unlike anything done before, would be in great demand, Packer continued. The multi-season approach has allowed The Chosen to consistently build an audience and generate a unique level of engagement. We're excited by the opportunity to elevate this incredible property to the next level of worldwide recognition and popularity. So that's what I'm saying. Angel Studios is saying, this is really going to help us because, and you know, the goal for Dallas and Angel Studios is they want 1 billion people to watch the show. I think they would get there by the end of 7 seasons on their own, but they might be able to reach 2 billion people, you know, with the help of Lionsgate.
But
You know
here's
what I'm
the
saying?
important part. It says, according to Deadline, after any theatrical release, Angel Studios app and the Chosen app still have global exclusive rights in the first window for all existing and future seasons. And then it says the Come and See Foundation, which announced a new partnership with the Chosen in December, will retain and manage licensing rights for all the Chosen's activities with the nonprofit sector, including translation. So I'm thinking that the show and Dallas still have the majority of a grip on the show and the app and how it gets made and how it gets
still making sure it's free for people that download the app.
And they are working with somebody who knows distribution of large properties to help them get this into theaters and get it onto more apps and get it in front of more people.
Which this is consistent with the goal of The Chosen constantly, because they want this to be, and Angel Studios wants this to be, audience funded.
Yes.
An audience funded production, and so they're not beholden to executives telling them, well, we predicted to make this much money, but this season didn't make that much money, so you're done.
This should be the future.
Right.
Audience funded, but with the resources of Hollywood.
Yes.
So the audience funds it, and the people in Hollywood who know how to distribute it.
Right. And the cool thing about this is if Lionsgate, like, they try their distribution to make a cut of money and to get out to more people, if they don't make their money back, or they come and say, well, this isn't a good fit business decision, then they just cancel the sub-licensing agreement and just let Angel Studios do what they already have been doing, right? And so no one really loses here except Lionsgate might have potential to gain some. And I think that's all that matters.
If they don't distribute, they're not going to make any money off of whatever deal that they made.
And they're already dabbling in Christian film because they did Jesus Revolution. So Lionsgate is kind of they're reaching across the aisle as of right now, try to get some of that Christian film money. And we see this all the time. I mean, this is how Dallas Jenkins did get burned before he started The Chosen. He got picked up to do a handful of movies. He did one, and it flopped. And they said, never mind, no more movies for you.
Yeah.
And that's through the Hollywood system. And so Hollywood always tries to invest money into these Christian films. Like, Sony was working with the Kendrick brothers.
Yeah.
Once they got popular. I don't know about their current relationship, but the Kendrick brothers movies have slowed down, and that might have to do with distribution.
Yeah,
through
we
Sony.
talked about this.
Sony kind of probably backed off when they realized like War Room or whatever didn't do as well. And so Sony's like, well, never mind. So now they have to go back to the older style, which is self-distribution. They need to get involved with Angel Studios if they keep making movies like the Kendrick brothers. Crowdfunded through Angel Studios, because Angel Studios isn't like all they're doing is saying, we will help you. We have all the connections. Your audience base has to raise money through this.
It's not exclusive, to The Chosen.
You know what they should do, and this is just based on my thoughts. Maybe they don't want to do this. This is just what I think. I think the way to make money today is with subscription-based stuff, but they don't want to charge for their show because they want that to be out to people, and they want to spread the news of what they're doing through their show. So I think what would be awesome is if they did like a Patreon exclusive or something like that, where they could get people to subscribe monthly to production stuff. Maybe they do behind the scenes of The Chosen.
Like a Patreon.
Yeah, behind the scenes for season 4 that they're filming right now.
They do have that. It's just not behind a paywall.
Yes.
They have that on the app that you have to download the app to watch that content.
think by saying, rather than saying, please give $10 a month, I think the idea of give $5 now once so that we can reach the 4 million that we need. I think people are more inclined to be like, yeah, I'll give $5, $10, $100 once, rather than I gotta give $10 each month. Especially when it's different when it's a small creator like us.
No, think about it like this. So yes, they get funding for season 4. People have already been funding them through 1, 2, 3, the 4. What are they gonna at season 7, which they're planning on doing 7 seasons? Is they're still gonna have enough people that are willing to? Maybe people will say, "Oh, I contributed season 2. Do I still want to contribute again for season 7?"
And here's the reason.
I think so, because we're seeing it work.
We are.
We're seeing it work. But
they're already got season 4 funded.
Yeah, but we still have to wait for season 5, 6, and 7 still.
It's going to get funded. And the thing is, because I know from personal, first off, they're in the right demographic. Christians, and they're operating out of Texas, so I'm guessing, and they're Christians in general, so they probably have right-leaning situations. So conservatives and Christians are the most charitable group in the nation. This is why I'm saying, like, when you say people would rather invest than pay a subscription, somewhat. I think certain demographics prefer that, right?
Yeah.
So this is the right demographic. You're catering to Christians and conservative people who are probably also Christians who tend to give the most to charity and causes they believe in. Like for me personally, I've already given to the show twice. And I've already given more than I would have if I was doing a subscription. Does that make sense?
But we're in a climate nowadays where people are familiar with how crowdfunding works and they like it. Because we know that if we give a certain amount and we know that other people are going to give and it gets to the desired goal, we are all going to get the product.
Right.
Whereas if we subscribe and we pay $10 a month, are we going to get the product?
It's up to the decision.
We're funding them consistently, but in the end, they have to decide.
Right.
Whereas if they end up with $4 million, we expect a product.
Right.
Because we see what the end result is.
Yeah,
Whereas
and we invested
if we're
in
giving,
that product.
Yeah, if we're giving $10 a month, it's like maybe we don't know what their budget is in the end.
Like, okay, so rough example. So HBO did a one-season show of The Time Traveler's Wife, starring Rose Leslie.
Oh, my gosh.
I loved that season. I loved the show. I loved everything about it. And then they canceled it. Like, as soon as it was done,
because nobody's
rolling out and
backing
canceled. Okay, but here's the
Rose.
thing. They had to make that decision from business-wise because their subscription model. What if they just put up and said, did anybody like this show? If you did, here, give us some money. And if we don't get enough, we'll give you the money back. But let's do a crowd fundraising for season 2 of just this show. I loved that season so much. I would have given probably $50.
He's been talking about this for way too long.
I would have given $50 to see a season 2.
We're in this day and age where it's less like we put something out, see how people respond.
Right.
People nowadays expect we give to this, and so we expect a certain result. We invest in this, so we expect something good, and that puts the responsibility on the creators to make something good, to make something enjoyable.
I would have paid for season 2 of Time Traveler's Wife.
Yeah, and so that's where we're at right now, and
and that's why Angels is building off of that business.
And
model.
I don't know if I've talked to you guys about John Mark and I years ago discussed an app similar to this where you could crowdfund animation.
Sick.
If you got a bunch of creators to put up a pilot episode similar to like Love, Death, and Robots, then individuals crowdfund your project. So it's like, I need $400 to get episode 2 out.
Yeah.
Then people crowdfund that, and in the next like 2 months you get episode 2 out.
Start building it, Wyatt. That's a good idea.
We discussed this in detail, and we were like, how do we create this?
Right.
But we
almost
didn't have the
like
means.
a
Well, we will in the
GoFundMe.
future, so freaking hold on to that.
It's a
out.
GoFundMe for shows or animations.
Yeah.
You could do it a bunch of different ways. You could make a pilot and then just do any show. Say we're going to do a show.
The cool thing is it's not even just a GoFundMe, because you're not going on GoFundMe to watch these episodes. You want a streaming service that is free that you can give and watch on the same platform. That's what the Angel Studios is doing.
So when you subscribe, you go on and you see here's the 5
it's like
things.
a GoFundMe.
Here's the 5 things that I've given to. Each of them have a new episode this week. Or here's one that didn't make it. Nobody else subscribed. I'm the only one who subscribed, but I only lost $5 on that one. You're taking a gamble, but you're potentially giving to artists to create the things that they want to create.
But also,
I think we
you can
need
do
more
it,
stuff like that.
You can
like
do
what's
it
going
to
on
where they say, like, well, here's our period of time. We give ourselves a year to fund season 4, right? As season 3 is rolling out. At the end of that year, if they're not close and they don't have the investors to finish, you just got to say, well, it's a wash. We can either do it for this amount of money, and it's just going to be a little lower than budget than we thought, or they just refund. Either way, you get a product or your money back.
Well, we thought about, it's like, how do you get that to keep going as the show gets larger and larger? Well, once it is successful, maybe it gets a season 1, season 2, then the app steps in and says, we're going to help with this as well.
Right.
Not 100%. We're not going to take it and do what Netflix does and become our own production studio, but we're going to support this and give to this and try to help it get funded each time.
I think more importantly, what the app has to figure out is not necessarily get it funded, just be the platform that makes it
promote
easy.
it. Yeah, they're going to promote it
and
they're
makes
gonna
it easy
get
for
it in front of eyes, make it easy for the artist, and support the artist.
Right.
And help them get their name out there.
I had the similar thought because you can expand this to so many things. You can expand it to YouTube creators or online creators as well, especially people that are doing cool stuff. Because right now everyone's operating on like their website, and you have to have like their website login. It's like, well, what happens if you just had a platform like YouTube, but you can give money? And I know YouTube's kind of doing this. The problem with YouTube is that it's so much there. It kind of operates on this free model, right? Any creator can put up for free. You can watch any creator for free. And it has to operate that way. But say you had 5,000 creators on one app, and you like 10 of those people, and you can pay for those people to do it. It's the same thing. You fund their projects. I think Olin Rogers is probably going to see the value of this and what he's done, like we talked about last week, and realize, like, yeah, all future projects.
What if he's the one who starts it, the animation app?
Olin, I mean, I would love to.
That would be cool.
I'd love
Let's
to
go
help
pitch
you.
him right now.
I'd love to help you.
After we're done.
We call Olin, we pitch this app idea.
We could get a hold of his
You guys
number if
wanna
we
build an
really
app?
put our hit. Yo, yeah. Would you like to develop an app?
Would you like to develop an app?
So yeah, I don't know. I think there's going to be value in this, and we just need like a good handful of platforms that work. Angels is one of those, but they still have that. You have to be doing something cool to get work with us. You know, you can't just be old any creator. So we'll see.
Did you
We'll
say
see.
old any creator?
You can't just be old any creator, any old creator.
creator.
Anyways, so you know, we'll see what Lionsgate is able to do with The Chosen, with their very specific and limited licensing of the show distribution.
I think it's going to be positive.
I think so too.
It probably is. Thank you, Shelby, for
being a Patreon
being
supporter.
Patreon, Nick. I don't know what I was
Patreon supporter, Shelby.
I don't know
Thank
where I was
you.
going with that.
It's either a Patreon supporter, being on the Patreon, or being a patron.
Patron.
Thanks for being a patron.
You're a patron if you are a Patreon supporter or on the Patreon. We got to get this right because we mess it up every time.
I don't mess it up every time.
Well, you used to.
No, I don't. I know the
I'm gonna
difference
make fun
between
of
a
you.
Patreon and a patron.
I'm going to make fun of you for something.
We do it off the podcast nonstop.
All right.
Listen, Shelby enjoys so much cool content over on Patreon.
Yeah.
Things like early podcasts, exclusive podcasts like our pre-show. We also, the more Patreon supporters that we get, we will grow in more and more exclusive content over there.
Yeah.
And we already have a bunch of stuff over there. So you have to go enjoy that, and we'll keep rolling out more stuff for you. So if you want to be a Patreon supporter as well, go to the link in the description and choose the tier that best fits your content needs, like Shelby has. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence over there on that platform.
I've got an idea for a movie commentary.
Go for it.
Equilibrium.
Okay, what is it about? That's an interesting title.
Right? It is...
Is it already done? Is there one called Equilibrium?
Wait, a commentary on movies or commentary
for
on the
movie
Equilibrium?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's...
what is Equilibrium about?
It's a movie.
You know, I was thinking about this when we're down in Georgia, where we got more people around us that are willing to jump in with like watch parties or just, kind of one-off
2002
things. Once season 4 of The Chosen comes out,
Christian Bale stars
since
now?
they do live, like
Sean
live
Bean?
with the app, with the actually Chosen app, I think it'd be cool to have like a couple of us just jump on and watch the episode and comment and do a commentary as the show's going live on like the podcast channel or something.
So don't show too much.
I'm just trying to find a good poster shot.
Yeah. So this movie is... I've never seen it, but I've always wanted to watch it. And I think the best place to watch it would be Patreon, because it is a kind of like The Matrix, but not. it's they live in like a dystopian world with like feelings police. You're not allowed to feel stuff. You're not allowed to have emotions.
It's interesting. We definitely should watch it if we don't do a commentary on it. But yeah, we could do commentary.
And the idea of like the way they fight with gun katas. You guys know what a martial arts kata is?
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Do the moves in a certain.
Yeah.
The idea is that human behavior is so predictable. You can learn a gun kata where you walk in. If you do all the moves right, you'll hit everybody with your guns.
That's what this movie's
ridiculous.
based. Like that's an aspect to this movie.
That's an aspect of this movie.
Ooh.
I've heard it's ridiculous and awesome, and I want to watch it. I feel like it could be another Blade for me.
Starring Christian Bale.
Yeah.
Christian Bale.
Sexy boy.
We got our 4 main actors. Go back to that other one.
4 main actor
here.
food groups.
No, not food group. We got our 4 main characters here. We got this
Christian Bale, Emily Watson.
Yeah, I can't read that.
I don't know.
Travis Diggs.
It's an M.
Trey.
No, that's an M.
Truck.
Whatever. And then we got our 4th main character,
Tay
Diggs.
Tay Diggs, awesome.
and then we got our 4th main character,
I don't know who
Christian
Tay
Bale's
Diggs is.
mole.
You always hating on his mole.
Yeah.
It's barely there.
Not even in that shot.
Not in that shot, but go to that shot.
Not there.
Okay, let's.
What shot? This
what's
shot?
our next thing, my guy?
Okay, we were doing so great.
Huh?
Let it be what it is.
He's trying
Let it be.
to move your podcast along.
That's what he's doing.
Yeah.
You feel it? You like it?
No, I'm just looking for
You
the
feeling it,
mole.
Mr. Krabs?
Mr. Krabs. So yeah, you guys should definitely do a commentary
I want to do this one really bad.
on Equilibrium.
We just watched what was the one with Christian Bale that we
I don't
just
know.
watched?
What
Psycho?
if we did
Psycho?
one in here? What if we just set it up in here so we don't have to set it up in there? That'd be easier to do.
I mean,
We turn on this
we
TV.
have to sit there and
And you won't be able to put it on YouTube even if it's unlisted because it'll be blocked because you're showing a movie on camera.
no. He's saying we would sit and watch and just record.
Oh,
the
just
audio.
record audio in here. I've told you guys this. I said you can watch movies in here, and you're like, no, that feels wrong. Let's keep the space sacred, is what you said to me.
Okay.
And I said, watch movies in here all you want.
I just don't
I'm
want to
cool with
sit
that.
and.
Maybe
I guess I could.
maybe if you guys
I don't
want to
sit for a whole movie in this chair.
Right.
I like to be comfortable when I'm watching my movie.
Well, go get yourself the chair in there. You could chair it.
guess.
You could
You sit-
swap
This
You
sounds
sit-
like a lot of effort.
It's
2
way
hours
more
in this
effort
chair
to go
every
move all
week
the
so that
equipment
we
out
can
to the
be
studio.
comfortable.
To-
It sounds like a lot. It sounds like effort.
We'll move
to be
the whole
less comfortable.
We'll move the couch in
I'd
here.
rather more effort and be comfortable than less effort and be uncomfortable.
All right. So
Can we not have both?
You can have both if you choose. Why does Chris Nolan constantly
Golly,
reuse-
why you pick this photo?
Why does Christopher Nolan always be reusing the same characters?
Make that
All right.
face.
Do you just not like how people look?
No, Josh was the
Josh
most
hates
judgmental.
other human beings.
If you're not careful, I'm gonna start judging you for how you look today.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, better be
kind
careful.
of shaggy,
shag.
haven't shaved.
Kind of spotted.
That mole.
Yeah, just find him anymore. Find
he's
him
like,
anymore.
oh my gosh,
Where?
the Christian Bale mole.
He's like, I've been dogging on Christian too much.
Speaking of Christian Bale, he's in
Right.
these movies.
So in general, there's the concept of why do directors always recast and reuse for so many different movies the same actors, and it's not just, and he's notorious because he uses so many stars in his movies. Like Christopher Nolan puts so many big names in a movie, at least 5 in every single movie. At least
But
5
he-
solid names in every movie.
He likes working with professionals.
He does. And the thing is, we see in his movies, he uses somebody, and then we see them in the next movie or the next couple. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they'll often play a smaller role and then get a bigger role
Right.
in the next
right.
movie.
And with Oppenheimer coming up, we got Cillian Murphy slated to be the star. And I've heard from rumors and videos and interviews and written, article interviews that Christopher Nolan believes Cillian Murphy to be the greatest actor of all time. Of all time. And so he's been really, really saving him for a lead role. Because I've got a list of kind of the main big actors that's been in multiple Christopher Nolan movies. But what I want to do is discuss real quick, why do directors do this, as well, especially him, and then let's take a look at the repeating actors for his movies and kind of give our thoughts, maybe see like who does the best, who you think was good choices, who's like maybe why he stopped using them, that kind of stuff.
We know
what I mean?
Tarantino.
Tarantino does it a lot.
Yeah, he does.
I think
it a lot.
Sam Jackson
Sam
is
Jackson.
every single one of his movies.
He's been in quite a few Tarantino films.
He's like not in like one.
Who's the guy who he plays the Jew hunter guy in Inglourious Bastards?
I don't know his name, but yeah.
he's in several of Tarantino's movies.
Leonardo DiCaprio's in a couple.
DiCaprio's in a couple. His brother, what am I thinking? The guy who plays Bill's brother.
Yeah.
Whatever his name is.
Joe.
He's in a couple of Tarantino films. So Tarantino has actors that he likes to cast in his movies.
He absolutely does.
We see that Wes Anderson is notorious.
Yeah, and he's like Chris.
Right.
He puts in a lot of big names.
Yeah, Ed Norton.
Tons of big names. Bill Murray. Timothy Chalamet.
Wilson.
Not Timothy Chalamet.
Yes.
The Wilson brothers.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Has Scarlett Johansson been in more than one? The one that's coming out?
No. Lots of them. Lots of people.
I don't get his films.
You don't get them?
No.
I don't think a lot of people do.
All right. I do. Personally.
Tim Burton and Johnny Depp is a famous combo.
Yeah.
You know?
Tim Burton, Johnny Depp. What's the other lady's name?
The female Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
She plays what's-her-face in Harry Potter. She's an incredible actor, but I can't ever remember her name. Vanessa?
Helena Bonham Carter.
You pulled it out.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, a lot of directors do this. I think it stems mostly just from you get to know somebody, you like what they do, and you want to keep doing that. I think that's part of human nature.
They fit with your style.
It's also human nature. It's like, do we work well together as well? Mm-hmm. Do you perform well based on my directing? And when you're making a movie, you're investing so much time, effort, and money and trust from other people's money that it's going to do well. And once you learn to trust an actor, even if they have a good reputation, you just are comforted by using them continuously.
Yeah.
And I think there's something to that with Chris Nolan, especially since he started like not too long ago. Like he's been doing this for 20 years, right? His first movie came out, I think, not his first like kind of breakout movie, Memento, was really back in I think 2002, 2003, right? Then he came out with Batman Begins in 2005. Mm-hmm. And then Prestige in 2006. And that's when the ball started
really rolling.
All right. And then The Dark Knight shot him into the stratosphere as far as popularity, out of the stratosphere, I guess. And then, so he's become such an iconic filmmaker, but he's still, comparing to someone like Steven Spielberg. Mm-hmm. He's much older than Nolan, but Steven Spielberg's done so many movies. Mm-hmm. Nolan's done like what? In total, maybe like 11.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's got Quentin numbers. Like Quentin's stopping at 10. Nolan and Nolan's done it in a lot faster than Quentin Tarantino has.
Right.
But I'm just saying he's working with a lot of money. A lot of people are investing in him, and so I think for him specifically, and then also becoming such a popular director over the past 15 years, and being such high demand for his quality content that. He needs the comfort of working with people he can trust. I think that's the main reason.
Yeah.
We also get into this. I know we were talking about 2 hours and 15 minutes for The Little Mermaid. Movies are getting longer and longer.
Yeah.
A lot of people are saying they need to go back to being short. I think a lot of that comes from Hollywood is trying to emulate these guys.
Right.
These guys like Christopher Nolan who are making long movies.
They're like,
they're like people
4-hour movie that Hateful Eight was.
Jim Cameron.
People are they're like
Jim Cameron.
James Cameron is like clearly these directors
wasn't
are
James Cameron.
successful.
Sure, he makes long movies.
Oh,
They're successful with making these 3-hour movies. We need to make everything 3 hours. Guardians needs to be 3 hours.
Right.
Avengers needs to be 3 hours.
Yes.
I don't think that works as well for those movies. It works for his movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Oppenheimer, I think, is going to be his longest movie.
sheesh.
Yeah. And boy, oh boy, is he holding out. So as I said, he's been holding on to Cillian
Can
Murphy.
we get an intermission?
I don't
Yeah,
think we're gonna get
Dude,
an intermission.
The Sound
with this
of
bad boy.
Music had an intermission.
Yeah,
Well,
we
hold
need
on,
to go
hold on.
back to.
I just heard recently that a lot of people didn't watch the Nazi section of Sound of Music because they got an intermission and
They were like, "Oh, the movie's
the
over."
movie's over. The intermission is right when they get married, right? Right when Von Trapp and Maria get married.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and then intermission, everyone feels like that's
What
the
a
end
good
of the
love
movie.
story.
Yeah, and they leave, and then there's the whole section of her becoming mom, and then being oppressed by the Nazis, and the war getting started, and then
crazy.
freaking there's a whole bunch
Nolan
of film
movies. I
left.
think need an intermission.
Maybe we should go back.
Please
to
give us about
mission.
20 minutes to
Right.
get out to go pee. But yeah, let's look at the repeat actors.
Right. So first we got Cillian Murphy, and so he's got 5 credits, including Oppenheimer,
Okay.
of being in 5 different movies, whether bigger roles or smaller roles. He shows up 5 times in his movies. And then the one who's at the top, Michael Caine.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Caine has 7 movie credits with
And
Chris
I want to
Nolan.
talk about
That's
this
almost
one.
all of them.
I want to talk about this one because I think it's really important.
Go for it.
Michael.
I think Christopher Nolan likes working with Michael Caine because he's a professional
Mm-hmm.
and because he is an incredible actor.
Yes.
And when he's delivering a line and he's getting really, into it, it's always emotional. It's
Yeah.
always intense.
Right.
And he hits the ball out of the park every time. His delivery of the poem in Interstellar
Mm-hmm.
is beautiful.
Yes.
When he tells Murph that he didn't have the answers on his deathbed and that he may have sent her father into space for nothing.
Dang it.
Oh,
It's intense.
Also,
when
you
when he's telling Batman, he's like, "I failed you."
I failed you,
Master White.
Master White. And he's sitting
Dude.
in front of the freaking stone.
Beautiful.
Yes. And I think I've recommended it. I'll keep recommending it because we get more viewers on the podcast. And so when they're on YouTube, look up Michael Caine teaches acting on YouTube.
That's a wonderful video.
I think it's about an hour long, little less than an hour, and he's just on stage probably in the early 80s, right? Him on stage teaching a bunch of people how to act. And it is so good. The details that this man holds in his head for acting, the classic style, the best way. You gotta
he's
love
always
it.
wearing a suit.
The man knows how to dress.
Unfortunately, he's 90, and I think
He's 90.
I think he's wheelchair bound at this point.
I don't think he's too much longer for this world.
No. This is him getting a cane.
But
He's looking old.
we really like Secondhand Lions is.
He was
yeah,
old in
he wasn't-
Secondhand Lions. That was a long time ago.
You pair Robert Duvall and Michael Caine,
Mm-hmm.
you get just excellent performances.
Right. So another credit, we got Christian Bale. He's got four credits, all 3 Batmans and The Prestige.
And I don't think he's done.
You don't think he's done for Chris Nolan?
I think Chris will call Christian Bale back.
I think so too. Okay, so
I
think about
could
this.
see him being in another Chris Nolan movie.
The big breakouts, he had Christian Bale by his side. Chris Nolan did. So he did Batman Begins after he did Memento.
Yeah.
And then he did Prestige, Chris Nolan. Then he did The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Then he took a break, did Inception. Then he did The Dark Knight Rises.
He didn't. I don't think he wanted to do The Dark Knight Rises.
You think it was in just demand?
Well, they wanted him to do it. He didn't want to do it as much because Heath Ledger's passing
right.
Probably.
was difficult for him, and he didn't want to have to continue telling this story without him.
It was so good.
Because I think in his head, the Joker was a part of that third movie as well.
I'm sure.
Does Christian Bale get paid salary and a half for him and his mole?
Goodness. All right.
People are going to comment on this. He's bullying.
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 Christian.
I get the bullying comments because I made fun of someone's eyes.
Right.
You need to get bullied.
Hold
too.
on. You could say she's got a unique.
I never
weird
said she was
face.
unattractive.
What you did was compare her to a frog.
I like frogs.
Anya Taylor-Joy. Just to recap.
Hey, we're not
everybody.
gonna.
And
back to that.
I explain. I like frogs. I don't have any issue with this.
Such a weird take. I love frogs.
I like
but
frogs.
Dang it, if Anya don't look like a frog.
Yeah.
Who's the next actor?
All right, so Ken Watanabe.
Yeah,
Got it right.
love him. Good actor.
Watabe.
So people don't know who that is.
They know.
Yeah, it's the guy from
You know him once you see him.
Inception.
He is the fella from Inception.
Or The Last Samurai.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Godzilla.
He plays the
You
fake
guys know
Ra's
him.
al Ghul at the
The
beginning
fake
of Batman
Ra's al Ghul.
Begins.
You guys know him.
So he has 2 Chris Nolan credits.
Isn't he?
He is
Yeah.
a good actor.
He went from Batman Begins and then took a break and came back in Inception.
Mm-hmm.
So he has 2 Chris Nolan credits. But yeah, this is Ken Watanabe. Really
man
good.
Looks
Really
so
awesome.
good bald.
His voice is incredible.
Let them fight.
He needs to do more voiceover work. In my
I'm sure
opinion.
he's done
Yeah,
quite
he
a
probably
bit.
has.
Him playing with the prosthetics of the old man in Inception. He's like, what did he say? He said, "You said we will become old man together."
Old men together.
Yeah, freaking.
Well, it's that gravitas, that the accent of
And
the
you see him
old Japanese man.
slowly
right?
picking up the gun.
Yeah.
Freaking, it's stellar performances.
The Japanese have that. They got that voice, man.
All right, guy
Mr.
who's not
Oldman.
appreciated enough.
Mr.
Gary
Oldman.
Oldman.
Gary Oldman. Freaking.
You want to talk about some of
Gary the old
greatest
man.
performances? Gary Oldman.
He's right there. It's right there.
So yeah. So obviously he plays Gordon in all 3 Batmans.
What did we just watch with him in it?
He's in all. He plays Severus, Sirius Black, and Harry Potter.
No. Well, what did we just watch with him in it? Because I was like, he's Gordon in
Batman.
Batman. What did we just watch?
watched
He's
something
coming out with
real
a Apple
recently.
TV Slow Horses. This is his most recent project.
Hold up. Can you go to his movies real quick?
He was the bad guy in Air Force One.
Really?
Yeah. It was a very kind of Hans Gruber.
Book of
Eli.
Have you seen this movie?
He's
The Book of Eli.
He was a villain in this. He always plays a good villain.
It was a kind of meta type storytelling, but you should watch it. The
It
Book
is
of
a good
Eli
movie.
with
All right.
Denzel
Washington.
So Morgan Freeman, legend, but he's only has
Yeah.
the 3 credits from the Batman movies. He hasn't shown up anywhere else.
Aw.
So you got now I struggle with her name, Marion
Cotillard.
Cotillard. So she plays. Let me pull up her. Well, let me copy and paste. So she plays. She plays on Inception, Leonardo DiCaprio's wife. She also plays on The Dark Knight Rises.
Oh, yeah.
She hasn't been in anything in a while. At least I haven't seen her in anything.
She was hot for a minute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she
I mean,
was in
she's
demand.
probably still hot, but
She's
she's
pretty.
been in a lot of stuff.
hot as in acting.
As
hot.
in
No.
acting, like
Not
what
your-
stuff that she was in. She
Yeah,
was
yeah.
in a bunch of
I
stuff.
was
How
gonna say,
dare
we-
you not call her just a hot in general
Oh,
woman?
no, I said hot in general as well.
Yes, she's very pretty. I think she's
And
probably the
she's a
most
good
iconic.
actress.
Oh, well, what was the last thing she
She's
was
the
in?
most iconic Chris Nolan female actor.
Mhm.
So
She was really good in Midnight in Paris.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's your brother.
Owen
My
Wilson.
favorite.
If she's part of the reason.
Yeah.
He likes her as an actress.
So I do not consider Chris Nolan sexist in any way, but a lot of his films do tend to lean into male characters. So there are fewer female actors, especially ones that repeat.
Well,
right?
I mean,
Don't say it. Just
what?
breeze past that.
I'm
Comment.
just
Don't
saying.
Say it.
I'm just
What,
saying.
don't-
Out of all the women and not just because she repeats, because I think the only other repeat is Anne Hathaway.
Mm-hmm.
Not just because she repeats. I think she is the most iconic Chris Nolan female actor as a character in Chris Nolan movies.
It shouldn't be surprising for a lot of people that maybe male directors are really good at telling male stories.
Oh.
I mean,
That's
there's this
true.
discussion in Hollywood. It's like we need, female directors to tell female stories. We need, different ethnicities to tell these different stories. If that logic tracks, then yeah, it makes sense that Christopher Nolan is really good at telling stories with primarily male actors.
Right.
But I don't think that's the case. I think he can tell stories with good female actors.
And I forgot to mention, Gary Oldman's credits is 4 because he has all 3 Batman movies, but he's slated to be in Oppenheimer. Gary Oldman is.
Oh, okay.
So, and it's actually the exact same here with Kenneth. What's his last name? Kenneth
Branagh.
He was in Tenet. No, he was first in Dunkirk. Then he's in
I
Tenet.
haven't seen Dunkirk.
Now I did.
You haven't?
No.
Out of all Chris Nolan movies, not the best.
It's just slower.
No, it's a well done movie.
It's just a slower movie.
I think
Okay.
we just get less. We're not as emotionally invested in the characters with Dunkirk.
Okay.
It's more about the events, and we're following a couple characters. But I never feel really connected on an emotional level with the characters in Dunkirk.
I'll need to watch it.
It's
Isn't
a
it
really
'cause all you're thinking is Harry Styles.
probably.
'Cause
I think that was a
I've
wrong
seen
move.
all
I
the-
think that was a wrong move.
I've seen all the other
You're
Chris
just
Nolan movies.
Thinking about watermelon sugar.
So Kenneth Boyog.
famous for his
Why?
portrayal of Poirot in
Poirot.
the Agatha Christie's
yes.
Murder on the Orient Express.
Mhm.
Oriental.
No, it's not the Oriental Express.
There's Poirot.
Oh, I can't wait for the next one to come out.
Yeah, it's got like a theater skull or dark vibe to it.
That's gonna be so sick.
So yeah, and also he was on Death on the Nile. Is that it? Yeah, Death on the Nile.
Death on the Nile, not as good. I think the third installment has potential if they're taking the kind of more horror route,
definitely.
with the detective horror route.
But he was in Dunkirk, and then he was in Tenet as the main villain, and he did awesome in that role. Such a convincing character, and he's slated to be in Oppenheimer as well. I don't know how big of a role. I think it's actually a smaller one because his credit's not very high.
Why does he
But
go
we'll
from
see.
this character to this character in Harry Potter?
Yeah,
That's insane.
he's a good actor. He's very dynamic. His role.
This Harry Potter is so different.
I've
yeah.
seen him play a villain in, I want to say, a couple different things.
Mm-hmm.
He's really good at the villain role. His villain role in Tenet is excellent.
Really good.
He's really good at it.
So another we got Joseph Gordon-Levitt with 2 credits.
Mm-hmm.
First in
Inception.
first in Inception, then The Dark Knight Rises, back to back. So he liked Joseph Gordon, and I wonder what Joseph Gordon was doing, because I know for a fact he probably would have kept putting Joseph in more films, but he probably got busy and just didn't. He did
Looper?
He did that. It might have been Looper, or it might have been that one movie where he was playing Edward Snowden. Did you guys ever see that one?
No.
Did you ever
No, I
see
haven't.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt's Edward Snowden, the guy who exposed?
I know who Snowden is.
Whew,
Wait,
really
I haven't
good
seen-
take.
I haven't seen
He
Joseph
exposed
Gordon.
who?
The
What?
government.
Exposed the government for spying on
Government secrets.
on the American people. He's been on Joe Rogan's podcast, The Real Edward Snowden, a couple times
Oh,
over
yeah?
video call because he's in Russia.
He's in hiding.
He's in hiding because during Obama's presidency, he leaked confidential information that he learned about when he was working for the CIA. And he's
that guy.
and he
okay.
he broke
Have you
protocol.
guys, what's Joseph Gordon been in recently? I haven't seen him.
Probably
He-
smaller stuff. He's a real
yeah,
indie creator. Yeah. I need to look that up. Let me see. Let's see what he's been in. What he's got
What's
slated.
Joseph doing? Because he was hot for a minute.
Right.
He was in everything for a while.
I mean, but he's been
He's been in quite a lot of movies.
since
Yeah.
Angels in the Outfield.
I'm gonna get rid
what's
of
he got
producer and writer. I'm just gonna get an actor.
Yeah. What's he got upcoming?
So 6 upcoming.
He was in Poker
Oh, he was
Face.
in Poker Face. Really good in
TV
Poker
series.
Face. Really good in the last episode of Poker
Yeah.
Face. It was really cool. So pre-production for a handful of stuff. We
White
got
Knight,
K
Providence, Killer Heat,
Wingman.
Beverly Hills
Wait,
Cop.
Glass Onion. What? He was in Glass Onion?
I think he was just voice
Hourly
Hourly Dong.
Hourly Dong.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He
Remember
said,
on the island?
he said the hourly
Mhm.
announcement is like Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah.
I think he said it.
Yeah. You remember that?
Mm.
So
He was in Pinocchio.
The
Oh.
Disney one.
Jiminy Cricket. He Jiminy Cricket. The Voice?
Yeah.
The one that nobody
He
watched.
did it. He
Nobody
did, in
watched this
fact.
one.
What?
Nobody watched
I don't
that
see him
one.
as a Jiminy Cricket character, but sure.
He was also, he did the voice of Detective
Hard Rock.
Hard Rock in Knives Out. What's he doing? What's he
He
doing?
also
Voice
played a
over
voice
again?
in Star Wars Visions.
Well, that's more.
Jay.
That's more relatable. I don't see why he's doing voiceover
Yeah, he's been
work.
in a lot of smaller stuff, I guess, recently.
He's always
No,
on.
I wouldn't
big
say
screen.
any of this stuff is
No,
smaller, just
been
not
doing
main actor
been
stuff.
doing some less prominent character
Right.
stuff.
But some of his what IMDb considers his most notable films, Inception is one of them. So he did Inception
Looper. I think
Looper.
I think Looper.
Well,
Yeah,
but
so
I'm talking about Chris
2012.
Nolan's.
That
Chris
is
Nolan.
right
yeah,
after 2012. That's right after. Like I said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. So he was probably busy with Looper when he was possibly getting casted for something past The Dark Knight Rises. So we got two more. We got Anne Hathaway. She got 2 credits. First, The Dark Knight Rises, and then right after, Interstellar.
Yeah.
So per the usual, Chris Nolan works with somebody, and then they're in the next one after. You know what I mean? And it's all like that with almost all of these, with the exception of Cillian Murphy. And then you got Tom Hardy, right? So
3
Tom Hardy
credits.
has 3 credits.
What's he?
He plays Bane.
Yep.
He's in Dunkirk,
and in
and he's
Interstellar.
in
Inception. Yeah.
Inception. Right.
Yeah.
So
Good
Tom,
repeats. My
Absolutely.
question,
Mhm.
and I don't know if you were leading to this or not.
right.
From Oppenheimer, do you think any of the first-time actors are going to show up in his next film?
From Oppenheimer.
From Oppenheimer. So we.
Well, I was looking at the
people
cast
knew-
list actually
people
this
knew.
morning.
to Chris Nolan movies. It's
Mhm.
like Robert Downey Jr.,
Emily Blunt,
Emily Blunt,
Matt Damon,
Florence Pugh.
Florence Pugh.
Oh no, not
Lots
that wasn't
of
Christopher Nolan.
people that are coming in.
New.
Do you think
Chris Nolan.
maybe Matt Damon is going
Matt
to
Damon.
star?
So
in the
you're
next
trying
movie?
to
I'm
predict.
trying to predict who's going to be in the next.
I know who
Matt
it is,
Damon's
bro.
kind of doing his
I
own
know who it is,
thing.
and I'm almost 100% positive.
Who?
Emily
Emily
Blunt.
Blunt.
I think I'm almost 100% positive the next Chris Nolan's going to have Emily Blunt in there. Because she's the wife of Oppenheimer. She's an important but sideline role. You get characters like Robert Downey Jr., Matt Damon as like front leads next to Cillian Murphy, and you put the leads that Chris Nolan's like considering as with the pattern. If you follow the pattern, Emily Blunt, she's more in the background
Right.
than Matt Damon, Robert Downey Jr. and Cillian Murphy. And those are the people you see rising
What's
up into
going
the
on
front.
in the background?
Yeah,
Why is there so much motion?
I
Yeah,
don't know.
this is distracting.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's a
think
good
Emily
prediction.
Blunt. I think it's going to be Emily Blunt. I don't think it's going to be Florence Pugh.
Okay.
Honestly,
I don't think
Better
it's
not
going to
be.
be Florence Pugh either.
Better not be.
Because I think part of his thing is, he really, he has to like you to work with you the next time.
it helps that she's British.
Yeah.
Emily Blunt's British.
Emily Blunt is British.
It helps because he's British and he's got that. He likes that vibe.
I want to see Austin Butler in one of his films.
He might show up. At some point.
I want because Florence Pugh's one of those actresses that Hollywood's really pushing right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes sense that she would get into one of these movies because he casts people who are big in Hollywood.
Because he's trying to sell that movie.
Right. And so
It's also why he stacks it with so many stars. All of his movies have so many stars.
yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
Did I cut you off or something?
No, I was basically done. I
Yeah.
don't know.
All right.
Just saying.
That's basically it. To reach around our butts.
Okay.
It's a long way for you.
You gotta stop. You can't stop with the reach around. To reach around our butts to hit our elbow. There's a good reason why he recasts and reuses actors, and there's not one specific answer. It's common, but for him, he probably likes to feel everybody out.
Wow.
Combined with a reach around. All right.
You're gonna get Christopher Nolan canceled just because of your comments.
No. But speaking of someone who should be canceled,
Yep.
Quentin Tarantino.
Dang. I didn't know we had another segment.
It's a short segment.
It's
Okay.
a more segment.
That's more segment. So he's come out, and we know he's been talking about, I'm doing 10 movies and then I'm done, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because he's an
He's
artist.
on
I'm an artist.
He's got a script.
I can't do this. Now he's saying,
No,
okay, look, this is what he's saying now. There's a reason, really, why I'm only doing one more movie. And why I'm stopping at 10. It's because it's the industry, Hollywood. It's terrible now.
mm-hmm.
He wants everything to be theater movies.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's got some problems with
We know that.
the industry these days. So Quentin Tarantino blasts streaming movies. It's almost like they don't exist. So let me find where his quote
I don't
is.
disagree with this.
Right. So
I think a lot of movies that come out on streaming it is hard for them to get the recognition, some of them that are really good, that they deserve.
will you read this for us, Wyatt? Let's read what he has to say, and then we'll discuss.
He says, I like the idea of giving it my all for 30 years and then saying, okay, that's enough. So, number one, he's...
he's not giving it all.
What are you
So-
talking about? In his movies, yeah.
Yes, his films.
He's casted the biggest names. He's worked hard to get...
He's done with films, but he said on multiple podcasts, I've got TV show scripts lined up. I've got a whole show I've already wrote that we're gonna work on once I'm done with my movies.
Yeah, he's what's the word I'm looking for?
No, it's say something
idealizing. Hold on,
show on
he's
Apple.
idealizing his own reputation.
Mm-hmm.
I like the idea of giving it my all and then saying, okay, that's enough, right? It's all in his head of who he is and what his movies are.
That's like
It's pretentious, yeah,
Right.
but that's artists.
that's like him saying, okay,
Can we finish what he has to say before we keep going?
He told Deadline film columnist Baz Big McBoy. Big boy.
Bad
Big
me.
boy. Bam, big boy.
Bammy Gaboy.
Big boy.
That's unfortunate, man. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Baz.
I'm sorry, Baz. I didn't.
But big boy.
Big boy.
All right, keep going.
And I don't like working to diminishing returns. And I mean, now is a good time because I mean, what even is a motion picture anyway anymore? It's just something that they show on Apple. That would be diminishing returns.
He keeps going.
Again, not wrong, but also I don't think correct. Things change. It's how the world works. No, we're not pulling carriages with horses anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We're driving cars. We're not driving as many gasoline cars anymore. The world changes, and I get what he's saying. He wants to be immortalized with his films. And not being like, well, now I'm putting stuff on streaming.
So,
Right.
the past couple months,
Okay.
I was like, I'm gonna Quentin Tarantino watch all his movies from the beginning to the end, and we did that. I finished watching all 9 movies so far, waiting for the last one. And before, I said Quentin was a pretentious director, and I'm still saying that his movies are good, but he has this pretentiousness to him, and he has said on multiple occasions, basically nothing in the 80s was good.
Mm-hmm.
There was a ton of great movies that came out in the 80s.
Right.
He bashes the 80s in saying that everything was goofy, but yes, there was goofy stuff, but there was some good films that came out of the 80s.
And I understand the streaming thing. Good directors understand that the movies are made for theaters, and the best movies are made for people to see in theaters. But I think that things are going to change to the point where good movies can come out on streaming services. We've seen it. What was that Jake Gyllenhaal movie that came out? That was really good.
The Guilty.
Yeah, but
Was that it?
But it's not it didn't get the
Guilty.
kind of recognition that something like Oppenheimer is going to get.
Right.
Or Barbie. Or even The Machine.
Maybe. So he goes on to say, I mean, I'm not picking on anybody, but apparently for Netflix, Ryan Reynolds has made $50 million on his movie and $50 million on that movie and $50 million on the next one and all that. And then he says, well, good for him that he's making so much money, but those movies essentially don't exist in the zeitgeist. It's almost like they don't exist. So what he wants is what he's gotten him for himself. He wants his movies to have as much, have more reputation than he does. You know, Netflix is paying for Ryan Reynolds.
But what are those movies called?
I don't know. I know there's one called Nice Guy.
What are they called? You know,
The Adam Project.
I get what he's saying.
Yeah.
But when you say a Quentin Tarantino movie, people are like, freaking Pulp Fiction, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
They know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Django.
Yeah. I get it. Having a movies like Jurassic Park. Everybody knows what the movie is.
Yeah,
Everybody's seen it a million times. Those are the kind of movies that he sees as movies.
Mm-hmm.
Movies that are pulp, that just get lost in the sauce.
Right.
Right? But the issue with the statement is it was going on when he was making movies, you know, when he first started too.
Yeah, it's
been going on in the 80s, it's in the 90s, in the 2000s. How many thousands of movies have been made that nobody knows what they are and sit in bargain bins. It's like that, and it's going to be like that. It's always going to be people experimenting to create something.
Yes.
And if it's trash, it gets thrown in the trash. And if it's good, people will elevate it.
See, Quentin had a specific, and I don't know exactly his backstory, but I understand Quentin had a specific uniqueness to his situation. He had a few connections with Hollywood. So when he decided he wanted to make movies, it took him forever. Like his first two movies, Pulp Fiction being his second, took him a long time to get those movies made. Like he took his time with it. But he also had connections in the industry and was able to call people, call agents, and he found a way to get these superstars on his first couple movies.
Mm-hmm.
So his movies were an instant success. People like Bruce Willis, John Travolta, Sam Jackson.
He did a couple things before.
Yeah, he did a couple things.
I think
but
he only did
also,
one movie before Pulp Fiction.
How much of the movies that he made were his artistry and the way that he filmed and the way that his actors communicated, and how much was it? Oh, these big names in Hollywood right now.
I've heard him
sold the movie.
I've heard him describe it's so important that you have stars in the role.
Yeah,
he wasn't going to make a movie with any major with any new kind of going to be a breakout actor. He doesn't want to do that, and I don't think he's ever really done that. Not putting in his front leads, because he's always said if you want to sell a movie, you got to put a star in it. Right?
But you know, a lot of people talk about it's not his actors, it's his dialogue, it's his filming. It's not his dialogue. Dialogue really comes down to how the actors deliver. Right. And filming, his filming is nothing super special. It's just non-traditional.
True.
It is all these things combine. He really tried his hardest to make his movies memorable,
which he did.
People, you know, you can quote all sorts of scenes from Pulp Fiction or Reservoir Dogs, if that's one of your favorites, or, you know, Inglourious Bastards, whatever. Or even the movies I've only seen once, I can probably think of a line to quote. They are memorable. So, you know, creating memorable movies is what he wants. It's what I want.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think there's ever going to be a time when people aren't making schlock.
Yeah, and back in his starting days in the 80s and 90s, it was just distribution. The thing is, streaming is just distribution. The movies that he's saying it didn't used to be that way. Yes, it did. It's just they didn't have the internet to put it on. They just never got put onto, 100 or 1,000 VHS tapes. They just never made it to hard copy.
And maybe he doesn't want to put in the effort to look for the good movies.
He probably doesn't.
Maybe, and that's on him.
Or maybe he's watched a couple and they just frustrated him so much that he just goes on these.
Quentin turns on a movie and he's like, "This isn't my movie.
Right?
I can't enjoy this. This isn't one of the ones I made.
It's not how I think."
Yeah.
Didn't have enough shots of feet in that film.
I bet he loved that Barbie trailer.
He's probably like, now this is a film.
This is film. This is a movie right here. He's like, Ryan Gosling, fine, whatever. But look at those feet.
Look at them feet. Open the trailer with feet.
They showed them feet several times.
Someone asked him what he's going to be doing after he's done with the films. and he's like, well, I just got married and I have a kid now that's like 3 years old. How does he have a kid?
He's kind of old.
How does he have a
Getting
kid
up there.
that's like young? I don't know if his kid's
What do you
3
mean?
Men do it all the time.
Well, yes,
How does
I
he
know.
have a kid? Are you saying he's ugly?
Yes.
she's
Would you stop looking down your big ass nose at people?
Joshua's hating on so many people's looks today. Joshua
No, I'm
just
not,
cannot
I'm not
get
talking
past.
about his looks. I'm
You're
just saying he's old.
gesturing towards him and be like, "How does he?
How does he?
How does he?" Just referencing his face. Look at him.
Look at him.
Look
at him.
I don't know. He's successful.
And
how-
extremely. He's successful. He's brilliant.
Very
He's a good
rich.
storyteller. He is rich. He's also extremely hot-headed and extremely
Kind of kinky.
kinky.
I guess people, whatever.
And that's all I have for today's podcast. How long was this one, Joshua?
About an hour and a half.
Hour and a half.
Nice. I'm always rolling out with the longer sods.
The longer sods.
The longer sods.
Okay.
He's got.
You guys got to
Justin's got
up
the
your
sods.
game.
I mean, mine are enjoyable. I think people enjoy mine. I think people like to
all
watch mine.
hour and 5 minutes of
Yeah,
real enjoyable
they really-
content.
Yeah, a tight, hour.
Tight hour. We could shave off 5 minutes of this hour.
Yeah.
Make it real good.
They're punchy. They're quick.
Yeah.
When I'm not yelling at Josh.
Right.
I can make a joke right now, but I'm not going to.
Well, I think this whole episode was
Make
enjoyable.
a joke.
Mine it's fast, but it's
Fast
not
and
about
quick. Yeah. It's about the motion of the ocean.
yeah.
Is that where you were going with this?
Yeah, I said I wasn't gonna tell the joke, and then wanted to tell it.
Is this
Yeah.
an inside joke? I'm confused.
No.
Why were you thinking motion of the ocean?
It's a sexual thing.
Yeah, it's a lewd joke.
I'm quick, but
But you both were thinking the term motion of the ocean.
thanks for watching the episode.
Why is it at the very end? I lost you both.
It's okay. We love you.